I gave you everything, she screamed, her face red with fury as she slammed her fist on my kitchen table. Everything. I looked at her calmly, reached into my folder, and slid the bank statements across the table. Keep the receipts, I replied. Before we embark on this incredible journey together, I have a small, heartfelt request. Please subscribe to my channel, give this video a like. It costs you nothing but means the world to me, and let me know in the comments which beautiful corner of the world you're watching from. Your support truly makes a difference. My name is Janet Summers. I'm 52 years old. And that moment, watching my sister's face crumble as she realized I had documented every single lie, was 3 years in the making. It started innocently enough. Mom had passed away in March 2021, leaving behind her small house in Portland, Oregon, and about $47,000 in savings. Nothing huge, but enough to matter. My sister Claire had always been the struggling one. 3 kids, a husband who couldn't hold a job, always asking for just a little help to get through the month. So when she suggested she handle Mom's affairs because she lived closer and had more time, I agreed. I was dealing with my own divorce and working 60-hour weeks at the accounting firm. Claire lived 20 minutes from Mom's house. I was 4 hours away in Seattle. Don't worry about anything, she'd told me over the phone that April evening. I'll take care of everything. You just focus on getting back on your feet. I should have known better. Claire had been taking care of things our whole lives, and somehow things always worked out better for Claire. What I didn't realize was that Claire had been planning this long before Mom died. The first red flag came in June when I called Mom's bank to ask about transferring her accounts. "I'm sorry, ma'am," the customer service representative said, "but those accounts were closed in April." Closed? I sat up straighter in my office chair. By whom? The joint account holder, Claire Morrison. She provided proper identification and the death certificate. Joint account holder. Mom had never mentioned adding Claire to her accounts. That evening, I called Claire. "Hey, I was wondering about Mom's bank accounts. They said you closed them?" "Oh, yeah." Her voice was casual, distracted. I could hear kids yelling in the background. "I deposited everything into my account temporarily, to pay the funeral expenses and sort things out. I've got all the receipts." "How much was there?" "About $47,000. Don't worry, I'm keeping track of every penny." I felt a knot forming in my stomach, but I pushed it down. Claire was family. She was handling Mom's affairs as a favor to me. 2 weeks later, I drove down to help clean out Mom's house. Claire met me there with a clipboard and an eager smile. "I've already sorted through most of her things," she announced, leading me through rooms that looked like they'd been stripped bare. "I donated the clothes to Goodwill, got the receipt for the tax deduction, and I found a buyer for the furniture." I stopped in Mom's bedroom doorway. The antique dresser that had belonged to our grandmother was gone. So was the jewelry box where Mom kept her wedding ring and the pearl necklace Dad had given her. "Where's Grandma's dresser?" "Oh, that old thing? It was falling apart. I sold it to an antique dealer for $300, much better than letting it rot." But it hadn't been falling apart. I'd helped Mom polish it just last Christmas. The jewelry box missing felt like a punch to the gut. "Claire, where's Mom's jewelry?" She waved dismissively. "Most of it was costume stuff. I kept a few pieces for sentimental value and donated the rest." She patted a small velvet pouch in her purse. "I saved you this." Inside was a cheap silver bracelet I'd never seen before. "What about her wedding ring? The pearls?" "Oh, those." Claire's eyes didn't meet mine. "They were damaged. The ring was bent, and several pearls were missing. I had to sell them for scrap value. Got about $200. I knew she was lying. I'd seen Mom wearing both pieces at Christmas, and they'd been perfect. But I said nothing. Not yet. Over the next few months, Claire sent me periodic updates. The house had sold quickly. Got asking price. And after paying the realtor fees, outstanding bills, and funeral expenses, my share would be about $18,000. Wait, Mom's house had been appraised at $340,000. Even after expenses, we should each be getting at least $120,000. When I asked for detailed accounting, Claire's responses became vaguer. "Everything's documented," she'd say. "I'll get you copies soon." Soon never came. In October, I received a cashier's check for $18,247.83, along with a note. "Here's your inheritance. Hope this helps with your fresh start. Love, Claire." I stared at that check for a long time. Something was very wrong. That weekend, I drove to Portland and visited Mom's neighbors. Mrs. Chen next door was watering her flowers when I pulled up. "Janet, how lovely to see you." She set down her watering can. "I'm so sorry about the mix-up with the house sale." "Mix-up?" "Well, when those people came to view the house in May, they thought I was the seller. I told them your sister Claire lived in that lovely blue house on Maple Street, the one that sold for $340,000. They seemed confused." My blood went cold. "Mrs. Chen, which house sold for $340,000? "Why, Claire's house, dear. Didn't you know? She moved to that beautiful new place in Lake Oswego right after your mother passed." Lake Oswego, one of Portland's most expensive neighborhoods. Claire had sold Mom's house and used the money to upgrade her own living situation. I needed proof, not just suspicious math and neighbor gossip. Monday morning, I took a personal day and drove to the Multnomah County Records Office. For $25, I could access all recent property transfers involving Mom's address. The clerk, a tired-looking woman named Janet, pulled up the records on her computer. "Here we go. Property at 4247 Rose Avenue sold on July 15th for $338,000. "Can you tell me who the seller was listed as?" Janet squinted at the screen. "Claire Morrison, as executor of estate." She paused. "And here's interesting. She filed the executor paperwork in April, just 3 days after the death certificate was issued." 3 days. Claire had been planning this before we'd even held the funeral. "Can I get copies of everything?" "Sure, honey. That'll be $12 for the full packet." I paid gladly. The paperwork told a clear story. Claire had filed to become sole executor of Mom's estate, claiming I lived out of state and was unavailable to serve. She'd never asked me if I wanted to be co-executor. She'd simply taken control. Next stop, Mom's bank. I'd been an authorized signer on Mom's account for years, something Claire apparently didn't know when she had me removed in April. The branch manager, Mr. Peterson, remembered me. "Ms. Summers, good to see you. How can I help?" "I need to understand what happened to my mother's accounts after she passed." His expression grew cautious. "I can only discuss accounts where you're an authorized party." I slid my old debit card across his desk. "Check your records. I should still be listed." He typed for several minutes, then looked up with surprise. "You're right. Your authorization was never formally removed. It seems there was an oversight when Ms. Morrison closed the accounts." An oversight that was about to cost Claire everything. "I can provide you with the full transaction history for the 6 months before closure," Mr. Peterson continued. "Would that be helpful?" 20 minutes later, I walked out with 12 pages of bank statements that told a very different story than Claire's version. The bank records revealed Claire's systematic theft had started months before Mom died. In January 2021, there had been $52,847 in Mom's savings account. But starting in February, there were regular withdrawals. $500 here, $800 there, always just under $1,000, the threshold that would trigger automatic review. The memo lines were creative: medical expenses, home repairs, caregiver costs. But I'd been paying Mom's medical bills directly to the providers, and Mom had lived in a senior community where maintenance was included. There had been no caregiver. Mom was still driving and shopping for herself until the week she died. By the time Mom passed in March, there was only $31,200 left in her account. Claire had stolen over $20,000 before Mom was even gone. But it got worse. The statements showed that in April, Claire had deposited Mom's final Social Security check and a life insurance payout I'd never heard about, another $8,400. Then she'd closed everything. I sat in my car outside the bank, hands shaking as I added up the numbers. Mom's actual estate had been worth around $430,000. The house at $338,000, the bank accounts at $39,600, plus the insurance money. After legitimate expenses, funeral costs, real estate fees, outstanding bills, Claire and I should have split about $380,000. Instead, Claire had given me $18,247 and kept the rest. She'd stolen over $170,000 from me and over $20,000 from our dying mother. I needed one more piece of evidence before I confronted her. That evening, I called Mom's insurance company. After providing the policy number I'd found in Mom's papers, the agent confirmed what I suspected. Yes, there was a life insurance benefit of $25,000 paid out in April 2021 to the primary beneficiary. Who was the primary beneficiary? According to our records, Claire Morrison. But that's unusual. The policy was changed just 6 weeks before your mother's death. Previously, both daughters were listed as equal beneficiaries. 6 weeks before Mom died, when Mom was weak and probably not thinking clearly about paperwork, Claire had convinced her to change the insurance beneficiary. I thanked the agent and hung up. Now I had everything I needed. Building an airtight case required more than bank statements and insurance records. I started with the jewelry. Mom had kept receipts for everything. She was meticulous that way. In her bedroom closet, behind the Christmas decorations Claire had somehow missed, I found a small fireproof box containing purchase receipts dating back decades. The pearl necklace, purchased 1987, appraised value $3,200 as of 2019. The wedding ring, purchased 1965, insured for $20,800. Various other pieces, totaling another $4,000 in documented value. Claire had claimed she got $200 for scrap value on damaged goods. The receipts proved the pieces were worth at least $10,000, and Mom's insurance photos from 2020 showed everything in perfect condition. Next, I needed to verify the furniture sales. I drove to 3 antique dealers in Portland, pretending to be a customer interested in 1940s bedroom sets. At the third shop, I hit gold. "Oh, you mean like that gorgeous piece we got in April?" The owner, a chatty woman in her 60s, gestured toward the back room. Solid cherry, dovetail joints, original hardware, paid $300 for it, sold it for $2,800 the next week. "Do you remember who sold it to you?" "Nice lady, said it was her mother's, had tears in her eyes. You could tell it was hard for her to let it go." I'll bet it was hard. Hard to keep a straight face while stealing. But the most damning evidence came from an unexpected source, Claire herself. I'd started saving every text message, every email, every voicemail from her. In December 2021, she'd sent me photos of her family's Christmas morning in their new Lake Oswego house. The photos showed Grandma's sold dresser in Claire's master bedroom, Mom's donated china cabinet in Claire's dining room, and there, clearly visible on Claire's neck in the family photo, were Mom's damaged pearls. I screenshot everything and backed it up to 3 different cloud accounts. The final piece was the most painful to obtain. I hired a private investigator to document Claire's lifestyle changes since Mom's death. Within 2 weeks, I had photographs of her new Lexus, receipts showing private school tuition for her kids, and mortgage documents proving she'd paid cash for significant home renovations. All funded, I was now certain, by our mother's stolen estate. It was time for that kitchen table conversation. I invited Claire to my house on a Saturday morning in February 2022, nearly a year after Mom's death. "I wanted to talk about Mom's estate," I'd said over the phone. "I have some questions about the final accounting." Claire arrived 40 minutes late, carrying a Starbucks cup and wearing a designer coat I'd never seen before. "Sorry, traffic was terrible. These Lake Oswego roads are so confusing still." I bit my tongue. let her dig her own grave. "So, what questions did you have?" She settled into my kitchen chair like she owned the place. "I thought we wrapped everything up pretty cleanly." I placed a manila folder on the table between us, but didn't open it yet. "I've been reviewing some documents, and a few things don't add up." Claire's smile faltered slightly. "What kind of things?" "Well, for instance, you said you donated Mom's furniture to charity, but I found Grandma's dresser at Morrison Antiques downtown. The owner remembers buying it from you for $300. "Oh, that." Claire waved her hand dismissively. "I meant to mention that. I sold a few pieces to cover some unexpected expenses. The rest went to charity." "What unexpected expenses?" "You know, estate costs, lawyer fees, that kind of thing." I nodded and opened the folder, sliding the bank statements across the table. "These are Mom's account records from January through April 2021. Can you explain these withdrawals?" Claire leaned forward, and I watched her face change as she scanned the papers. The casual confidence was gone. "Those were legitimate expenses. Mom asked me to help with things." $20,000 in medical expenses when I was paying her bills directly? "She had other costs, private things she didn't want to worry you with." I placed the insurance documents on top of the bank statements. "Like changing her life insurance beneficiaries 6 weeks before she died?" Claire's face had gone pale. "Look, Janet, you don't understand how hard this year has been for me. The kids, the mortgage, David losing his job. So you stole from our dying mother to pay your bills?" "I didn't steal anything." The words came out sharper than she'd intended. "I was taking care of everything while you were up in Seattle playing the grieving daughter." That's when I placed the final photographs on the table. Claire wearing Mom's pearls at Christmas. The silence stretched between us like a wire about to snap. "I gave you everything," she screamed, her face red with fury as she slammed her fist on my kitchen table. "Everything! I took care of Mom, I handled the estate, I protected you from all the stress and paperwork while you were dealing with your divorce." I looked at her calmly, reached into my folder, and slid the bank statements across the table again. "Keep the receipts," I replied. And that's how we ended up here. The moment I'd been building toward for 11 months. Claire tried to grab the documents, but I was faster. "You can't prove anything," she said, but her voice was shaking. "Those are just bank records. Mom gave me permission for everything." "Mom gave you permission to steal her jewelry and lie about donating it? She asked you to forge her signature on insurance documents?" I placed a copy of the handwriting analysis I'd commissioned on the table. "Because this expert disagrees. Count check, 3,075 words so far." The fight went out of her then. Claire slumped in the chair, and for the first time in our 42 years as sisters, she looked smaller than me. "What do you want?" she whispered. "I want you to return what you stole. All of it. I've calculated the total at $187,000, including interest." "I don't have that kind of money." "Then you'll need to figure it out. Sell the house, liquidate investments, whatever it takes. You have 60 days. "And if I don't?" I placed a business card on the table. "I've already retained a lawyer. We can handle this privately, or we can let the district attorney's office handle it publicly. Your choice." Claire left without another word. She paid me back in installments over 8 months, selling her Lake Oswego house and moving into a modest rental. The kids had to change schools. David had to get a real job. But here's what I learned. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's simply refusing to let someone steal your mother's memory along with her money. Before you go, please subscribe if this story resonated with you, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Remember, family is important, but so are boundaries. Ciao. Janet Summers.